My channel. My name is Christian. Good morning, good evening, good night, good day. Wherever you are, whenever you're seeing this, I hope you are good. So guys, today we're going to be doing a friendship diaries video, and I'm basically just going to be talking to you guys about my friendship journey. I've been seeing a lot of people make different content about friendship in your 30s and friendships in your 20s and having no friends and finding your friend group and what does that look like. So I feel like I've been through a little bit of everything in friendships, and this is basically going to be my friendship diaries. I'm going to take you guys through what the last 10 years have looked like for me in friendships. I'm 29 now. I believe that I have my core friend group that I'm very, very happy about. I have two best friends, and I have a lot of other friends in Dallas, in Atlanta, in a bunch of different places back home where I'm from, Baton Rouge. I have, different friends everywhere that I've been, but I have two very, 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 very best friends. One that I've known for almost 10 years and another that I've known for probably about 3 years now. And of course I have my husband, who is my top BFF. But yeah, so I've been through a lot of different things in friendships, with friendship groups and the friendship group falling apart and then everything imploding and all kinds of stuff. So I wanted to get into it with you guys just to encourage you. If you're young, if you're in your 20s, if you're going through your 20s, if you're approaching your 30s and you have no friends and you're like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? Let's get into it. Let's get into it. So yes, guys, we're just going to be talking about my friendship diaries in today's video. If you want to book a private session with me, connect with me, follow me on Instagram, get into everything, check down below in the description box for all of the links and all of the things. But yes, let's get into today's video. So guys, let's take it back to me being 20. So when I was 20 years old, I believe I had just dropped out of school, honestly. I just stopped going to school, and I was about to start cosmetology school because I remember I think I made my 21st birthday when I was right about to start cosmetology school, I believe, or maybe it was my 22nd birthday. I'm really not sure now, but I know that I was just leaving New Orleans. I was just dropping out of college. Literally my third year in college, I dropped out, moved back to Baton Rouge, and basically was just trying to figure my life out. College was very interesting for me in terms of friendship, because while I was in college, I experienced a lot of really crazy things in friendships, all kinds of really, really crazy stuff in friendships. I don't want to get too, oh geez. I'm trying to figure out how much I want to say or how I want to say this, because there's a lot of people's business involved in this, and I really don't want to bring up old friends' business and stuff like that. But let me just say, in college, very, very early on when I got there, I realized that everybody was not raised like I was. And I think college is when you first start to recognize that. You don't really know people at their core. Like, you don't really know someone's true self until you can see how they handle conflict, in my opinion, until you can see how they handle, the highs and lows of life, until you see if they respect others, if they respect themselves, if they respect you. For me, until you see their relationship with God, until you see their relationship with their parents, until you know how they feel about love, how they feel about cheating, how they feel about lying, how they feel about, their other friends, like if people are talking shit about their other friends and bringing it back to you or what have you, you don't really start to recognize a lot of that stuff seriously until college, because up until then, friendships are very childish and immature. It's about having fun and keeping up with drama and tea. That's literally all it was about in high school. And I'm going all the way back to high school because I'm from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Most of the people that I've known since elementary school or middle school, I also went to high school with them. And some friends that I have, I've went to middle school with them and high school. I kept in touch with them in college, and I'm still in touch with them now. So yeah, I think that when you're in a space like that and you know people for so long, and for some of you, you've been in spaces like that where you've had your core group of friends for years and years and years. I always come across young women that have had, a friendship for 10 years, by the time they're in college, or, you've known someone your entire life. But a lot of times we make those friendships off of proximity, and I've talked about that a little bit here. You make friends with people just because you might both be the black girls in the class, or you might be sitting next to each other. One girl I ended up getting cool with that I really probably shouldn't have been cool with. Our friendship obviously didn't end well, but I ended up getting cool with this girl. I remember the first day we met, and I remember the first moment I met a lot of people. The first day I met this girl, I remember we were both walking to the carpool line, and one of us asked each other, "Are you going to carpool?" And the other person was like, "Yeah." And we were like, "Do you know where it is?" and we were just trying to find carpool together, and that was the first conversation that we had. And because of that, we just were going to carpool together every day, and we just became buddies, you know. So there's a lot of different little instances where maybe you like the same thing, or you both wear the same thing, or you're in the same class, or you sit next to each other, or you're paired with each other for a group project. There's so many different reasons why we become friends when we're growing up. And even in college, you know, you might make friends because you both like to drink, you both might like to smoke, you both might like to go to certain concerts, you both might be in a certain club, maybe through a group project, you know, or if you want to be in a sorority, if you want to be on a team, or, you know, participate in certain things at school. Like, there's always an opportunity to make friendships due to proximity. Even as an adult, you can make friends with your coworkers or the kids, you know, the parents of the kids that go to your, you know, children's school or whatever. But making friends out of proximity is not always the best thing, because there's a bunch of people next to you. You know, like, you could literally make friends out of proximity everywhere. And I'm really not the type of person that can go anywhere and find a friend. I'm not the type of person, because I really don't think that proximity is enough to find friendship in somebody. How I find friendship has changed a lot as well. And this is just going to be, like I mentioned, this is just a friendship diaries, honey. So I'm going to be all over the place just talking about a decade of friendships, basically. But, you know, I think that in college is when I really started to recognize very early on, like, okay, we're not all raised the same. You know, our parents don't all come from the same type of background. You know, my parents were married and together for 14 years until my dad passed. My parents had an incredible, beautiful, love-filled, God-filled marriage. You know, my parents are definitely probably one of the reasons that I'm married, you know, and that I even believe in marriage, you know, because I know how powerful it can be to have a partner that balances you out, is everything that you're not. You know, doing life with a partner is so special. And I really had a fantastic childhood, literally. Like, I had the childhood of my dreams. I literally felt like I was on Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. I got whatever I wanted. My parents were great and loved each other. They loved us. You know, we had, you know, great times at school because we were siblings and all the teachers knew us, and my mom was volunteering at the school every day. So my mom was always at the school. It was just fun, you know, like, we would go on shopping sprees together, and, you know, my dad would decorate the house when my mom would come home from a vacation, and we would surprise her. Like, you know, I had a really love-filled childhood, and a lot of the people that I were around didn't. You know, and also my parents are older, so I was just raised a certain way. You know, I was at church every Sunday and Bible study every Tuesday night and children's church every first Saturday, and, you know, vacation Bible school, you know, every year until I was 13. And I started teaching vacation Bible school and was teaching vacation Bible school till I left and went to college. You know, like, I had a very structured background. My mom was in a sorority. I was involved in everything that her sorority did with youth groups and stuff. So my upbringing was very different. And it was very structured, very disciplined. So I naturally had a lot of respect for people, a lot of respect for myself. I naturally really didn't like drama or mess. Now, I'm not saying I was perfect, honey, because I definitely was in some drama as well myself. But I didn't want to treat my friends like that. You know, like, if I was being messy or catty, I didn't want to do that to my friends. You know, like, I wanted my friends to kind of be like my like untouchable group. Like, we protect each other, we support each other, we got each other's backs. Everybody else can get it. And I'm low-key still like that with my friends, because my friends are my sisters. My two best friends are my sisters. So when it comes to them, anything can go, honestly. It's the same with my husband. When it comes to them, anything can go. Of course, it's never going to get to that, but you know what I'm saying? You know, we protect each other, we love each other, we support each other, we're ready to ride for each other. We'll never be talking about each other, we'll never be nasty to each other, we'll never have each other's names in our mouths, we'll never disrespect each other or cross a line with each other. You know, I've always felt like that in my friendships, just because of how I was raised and how my parents were. You know, they didn't disrespect each other, they didn't let us disrespect each other growing up. Like, we couldn't curse at each other and scream at each other. So needless to say, I'm saying all of this to say, when you find out how your people in your life were raised, it really makes a big difference. And everybody in my life now didn't have a picture perfect upbringing, and I didn't have a picture perfect upbringing, even though I said all of those great things. Nobody's upbringing is perfect, you know. But I do think that, you know, when you're very young, everybody doesn't have that instinct to say, let me change, let me heal. Most people are wilding out, acting crazy as hell until they're like 30. And then they're like, okay, let me go to therapy. Let me get myself together. So I was in a lot of mess in my, you know, friendships in my early 20s, really until I moved to Dallas. When I moved to Dallas at 24, a lot of things started to shift with me in my friendships. But those first couple years of my 20s, disasters in terms of friendships. Lots of friend groups dismantling, just a lot of friend groups dismantling, a lot of drama that wasn't really addressed person to person. In my case anyway, a lot of stuff that was going from people, a lot of stuff online, just a lot of mess and drama and ignorant stuff that I never tolerated, like I never talk bad about people on the internet because I just think that's stupid and pointless. I never, see the point of having a problem with somebody but not really being able to speak to them. We used to have family meetings growing up for me. So if I have a problem with anybody, low-key, my first instinct is to talk to them about it. Like we can talk about it and, have a conversation. I'm not going to kiss your behind or just say whatever you want me to say, but let's have a conversation, Everybody isn't like that. So I feel like in friendships, I didn't really get the best out of a lot of friendships growing up in that, early 20s, because I was looking for so much more than what I was going to be able to give. And I think that, it definitely affected me in my relationships. I think all of my relationships were kind of messed up, honestly, in my early 20s. I had a bunch of nasty, unhealthy, abusive, crazy partners that were nuts. And I had a lot of people around me that were dealing with crazy stuff in their relationships and crazy stuff in their lives. It was a very chaotic space for me in general. And I think all of that affects your friendships, I think the more stable you are in your own life, the more stable you're able to be in your friendships and in your relationships and stuff like that. And girl, before I moved to Dallas, I just was in a lot of, chaotic situations. Moving to Dallas was, a chance for me to get out of an abusive relationship, actually, because I was with somebody that was nuts. And I literally had broken up with them multiple times, and they would never leave me alone. And that's something else that would be affecting my friendships. If I had bad relationships, or if I was just too blinded by the person that I was with, sometimes I would abandon my friends or just forget about my friends in my early 20s. And that was kind of just like a coping mechanism for me, because I was so miserable in these relationships. Like I wasn't happy in any relationships that I was in, in my early 20s, literally. They were all bad. So I absolutely would kind of hermit myself, because I don't want to talk about what's going on in my relationship. I don't want you to ask me what's going on in my relationship. Like I just wasn't happy, And I think that, a lot of times in relationships, when people stop talking to us, or when we lose touch with people or what have you, we can always think the worst. And I say that because as young people, I know I'm not the only young woman that goes through this. You're probably going to have a lot of friends that might dip on you or go ghost on you or what have you. Just check on them, like that's what I do now if I have anybody that I'm talking to that's, gone ghost, because I don't appreciate, I'm not really proud of how I handled a lot of stuff, growing up in my, relationships. And you guys know I've been diagnosed. Okay, I'm on my bed, so I'm doing really, really good now. But there was a lot of support that I needed back in those days, and I didn't know how to ask for it. So I think the demise of a lot of my friendships was my inability to really communicate what I needed. And also just my issues with handling emotional discomfort. I don't like being emotionally uncomfortable. It's really, really difficult for me. It's really, really hard for me. It's really, really stressful for me. So whenever I'm in spaces like that, and whenever I have been in spaces like that in the past, it's just always been a drag. It's always been exhausting. It's always been frustrating. And it just makes me not want to talk to anybody, not want to do anything. Also, from the point that I started, going to cosmetology school in my early 20s, I wanted to move to Dallas or move to Texas. I wanted to get the fuck out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So I basically had a little bit of tunnel vision as well. And no matter what I was doing or what I had going on, I had in my mind, I need to get out of Louisiana. I need to get out of Louisiana. I need to get out of Louisiana. So I think that also just kind of made me just be very, very tunnel vision. And when it came down to it and I had to, make the move, then I made the move. And I did lose touch with a lot of people when I moved, because I couldn't really think about anything or focus on anything but moving. Like that was really the only thing I could focus on. That was the only thing I wanted. I knew I needed to move. And I had focused on that for years. My early 20s, before I moved to Dallas, I was thinking about moving. So I think that in my early 20s, and when I was in college, seeing everything with friendships and seeing people for who they really are, and just being like, oh, you're not raised like me, you didn't grow up like me, you have this going on, and also me feeling like myself, like I don't really know, how to communicate what I need. Is this really enough for me? I don't really like drama. I don't really like mess. All we do is this. All we do is this. You know, why are we hanging out with this person if we feel this way about this person? You know, why are you hanging out with me if you're saying this kind of stuff about me? You know, like very early on, I remember some of these friendships, I found out that certain friends were saying crazy stuff about me or lying on me or saying all kind of wild stuff. So I think that for me, the attachment that I felt to a lot of these friendships was tainted very early on. And I was like, girl, let me get the fuck out of Louisiana, basically. Because in my early 20s, I went through a lot in a lot of these friendships. And I always felt like I kind of got the bad end of the stick, or like I wasn't getting what I need. So when I started going through those bad relationships and just kind of fighting to find myself, I was kind of just like, you know what? I don't care. I'm about to get up out of here, and if you come with me, great, and if you're not, then that's just too bad, you know, like, and literally I had tunnel vision and I got out, and that's just, you know, what that was. So yeah, you know, I feel like I went through a lot of different confusing times and friendship in that, you know, in that space. But when I moved to Dallas, I don't really think much changed. I think I really had one, you know, homegirl that I was cool with up until recently that I had when I was in Dallas. So I kind of switched around, around 24, I believe. I kind of switched around 24 to just wanting to have quality over quantity. But that still didn't work because I still was unable to communicate. You know, so I think my communication issues really held me back in my friendships, and it kept me in friendships that I didn't need to be in for too long. Also, me being a people pleaser, me not wanting to, and mind you, I met so many girls and stopped talking to so many girls. I blocked a lot of girls, honey. Like I've gone through a lot of friends since I've been out here. You know, I would probably say since I got married, I really haven't been meeting anybody or kicking it with anybody or anything like that. Wait. Was I 24? Maybe I had just made 24 when I moved out here. I'm thinking I'm getting my times wrong. I think I had just made 24 when I moved out here, I think. I'm getting my times wrong or my ages wrong. But I know whenever I just moved out here, my focus was, you know, like quality over quantity. I just figured I wasn't going to have a really big friend group, and I was okay with that. I just kind of accepted that. And yeah, but that still didn't really benefit me because I wasn't in a great friendship. I really couldn't communicate my needs. And I was still letting the people that I was in a relationship with take advantage of me. Like I was still in manipulative relationships, being a people pleaser, just being whoever people wanted me to be. So it really wasn't until the pandemic, 2020, when I really started being intentional in my friendships. And that's when, you know, any friend that I've made since 2020 is somebody that I really care about. Like even if I just met you when I was staying in Atlanta, I met some great people while I was staying in Atlanta. I met some great people, you know, in Dallas since I've been back. And everything changed when I changed, you know, and I think a lot of us that fight against friendships and, you know, what we need and what we want, and we can't seem to get what we want, everything will change when you change. You know, and I really had to get intentional about who I wanted to be, about the type of friend that I wanted to be, about being honest in my friendships, about being realistic, about, you know, just not being so overbearing either, you know, just kind of letting my friends live their lives while I live my life, finding that balance, you know, in friendships, but also, you know, finding that closeness too. And also, I think that I really had to learn a lot about trust and a lot about communication. You know, I think my trust issues and my communication issues definitely messed up a lot of my earlier friendships, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, I think, again, proximity just leads you to be close to a lot of people that you really don't have any business being close to. You know, I feel like I'm a very special type of individual. Like, I'm not really a people person. I don't think everybody can be friends with me. I don't think everybody's gonna like me. You know, like most people do, but most people don't really know me like that. You know, like I only have a few people. I have a handful of people who really know me at my core, who really know my truth, who know every aspect of me, every facet of me. Everybody really doesn't. Most people don't. So, and that's just how I am, honey. So I feel like because of the person that I am, and you have to figure out who you are. You know, if you're somebody that can make friends with everybody, then great. Lean into that. Meet people, challenge yourself, get out there. Like one of my best friends that I have now, I told you guys that I have a sister that I've known for almost 10 years and then another gorgeous homegirl that I've known for about 3 years, I would say now. My time I might be wrong because girl, it's early in the morning, but about 3 years. And I actually met her on Bumble. So don't be afraid to get on these apps. Don't be afraid to get in the Facebook groups or go to the events. You know, like if you're in an area or if you want to make new friends, you have to put yourself out there and you have to be consistent with it and intentional about it. If you're intentional about it and you know what you're looking for, you can definitely meet great people. Even if you meet cool people, link with them a few times and then never speak to them again. You know, like making friendships and connections is not about finding soulmates every single time. Like you can find your chosen people and that's going to be great to have, but all of your relationships are meaningful, even if this person isn't your soulmate forever. You know, like every connection can be meaningful to you and it can hold a deep, you know, importance to you. It could teach you something. It could show you something about yourself and all kinds of stuff. So I think it's great to just be open to making connections, to be open to trusting people, and also to just being open to being yourself, you know. And honestly, me meeting my best friend that I met about 3 years ago, whenever I met her, or has it been about 4 years? I think I was already 25 whenever we met, I believe. So I'll say about 3 years. But whenever we met, she was the first person that I met that I told myself, okay, be yourself. Every other person I had met, I had basically met them and just tried to show up as who I felt they wanted me to be, you know, and I kind of let them lead the conversation and let them lead the mood. I just hyper fixated on how I was showing up and if they like this and if they like this and if they think this, you know. I've never really, until now, I've always had issues just being myself around people. I always feel like they're not going to like me. So I'm always like, let me, you know, do something else. Or I feel like I'm not what people think when they see me and when they meet me. They think I'm one way and then I end up being another way. So usually I just try to be who I feel people want me to be. And when I met my best friend, I said, you know what? I'm just going to be who I am. I'm going to be myself. I'm not going to think twice about it. I'm just going to be myself. And I really had to be intentional at the dinner about just relaxing and just being myself, you know. And we formed a really, really, really beautiful connection. And everybody else that I've met since then, when I've been intentional about being myself, I really feel great about the connections that I'm able to meet. Because when you're yourself, it's so easy to tell if people like you or not. It's so easy to tell if you're somebody's cup of tea or not. And the type of person that I am, I feel like I'm a very specific taste. You know, I feel like I'm not everybody's taste. You know, I can be too much, you know, for some people, because I am a little bit all over the place. You know, if I'm my real self, then honey, I'm not holding back. So you're gonna get all of that and then some. You know, it's just gonna vary. But I do have a very big personality. You know, I've always had a big personality. That's just, you know, how I am. But yeah, I feel like people either love me or hate me. And if you're somebody with a big personality or just anybody, I feel like a lot of people either love you or hate you, but sometimes it just depends. But if you're somebody like me and people either love you or hate you, being yourself is the best way to approach friendships, because you're showing exactly who you are and you're giving them an opportunity to see you at your realest, to see you at your core. And you want people to like you for who you are, you know, like don't worry about people not liking you or not accepting you or not thinking you're cool or not thinking that you're, you know, somebody that they want to move forward with. Because if they don't, then great. You need to know that as soon as possible. You need to know that as soon as possible. You know, I held my tongue in too many spaces because I wanted people to feel comfortable or because I was like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. But no, like anything that you recognize is something that you might want to bring up or just make note of. And I guess to kind of wrap up, because there was a little bridge there in the middle. When I moved to Dallas, remember I said I was focused on quality over quantity. I decided I wasn't going to have a big friend group, whatever. But I was meeting a lot of people and just creating a lot of great connections, whether we moved forward or not. I met a lot of really cool people. But around my 27th/28th birthday, I can't remember if this was my 28th birthday. Oh wait, no, I just made 29. So this is my 27th birthday. Around my 27th birthday, I had actually created another group of friends, basically. I did not learn my lesson from all the terrible friend groups that literally crashed and burned in flames. I still wanted a friend group. Like, I had been chasing a friend group for a really, really, really long time until I had to accept that that's just not my ministry, that that's just not what I'm supposed to have. And maybe, you know, those spaces will come in ebbs and flows, and those little communities and groups will come in ebbs and flows. But I don't think I'm meant to have a posse. I don't think I'm meant to have a pack. I'm just not that kind of girl. But I've always wanted that for whatever reason. I have 6 brothers, so I've always wanted to have a sisterhood and have a bunch of women around me. I've always wanted that. And for whatever reason, I did not learn my fucking lesson. And I brought all of my friends together. Literally a girl that I had known from college. I probably known her about 10 years. Another girl that I was, very cool with. This is my homegirl that I met when I first moved to Dallas. She was basically my best friend at the time. I had her in the group. My best friend that I met on Bumble, she was a part of the friend group. A client that I had that was also a really good friend of mine. I had known her probably for maybe 3 or 4 years. She was in the friend group as well. And it was me, so as far as I'm concerned, I was like, okay, I know all of these women have great energies and great vibes and da-da-da-da-da. It crashed and burned, honey. It crashed and burned. I don't talk to nobody no more except for my bubble BFF, okay, who is my sis, like I said. But the reason all of these friendships imploded, and I'm glad that they all imploded, because there were things that I knew. This is the thing about me. I've realized that I can't have people in my life that have fatal flaws that are going to affect the relationship at all. Anybody that I've had in my life that I've had to move out of my life, and hopefully anybody that has had to kick me out of my life. If I have a fatal flaw, and everybody has fatal flaws, everybody has issues. If I have an issue that's affecting our relationship in a negative way, leave, girl. You should not be around me, and maybe I should not be around you. I don't think I'm too good to get cut out of anybody's life if I'm not serving you. So I think that's something else to really learn in friendships. Just like everybody's not going to be your cup of tea, you're not going to be everybody's cup of tea either. People are going to cut you off. People are going to be looking at this video like, dang, I need to cut you off. People are going to decide that you don't fit with them as they move forward and what have you. It is what it is, we can't always be right for everybody. But I do think that it's important to make sure that the people in your life, that their fatal flaw doesn't affect you, okay? Let's just give some examples. For example, somebody that has a fatal flaw where, if they get angry, they get to cursing and violate and bringing up old stuff and posting stuff on internet. They just go crazy when they get mad. And you watch them do this to every relationship that they have in their life. And when they get mad at you, maybe they block you, maybe they curse you out and hang up on you on the phone, and then they always come back and apologize. That person's fatal flaw is affecting your relationship with them. It's making you feel some type of way. Because I guarantee you, if you have somebody in your life that's treating you like that, then you probably have somebody else that used to be mean to you, or used to be nasty to you, where you think that that's acceptable. Or you maybe feel bad for this person because they have other stuff going on and they're like, this is why I'm feeling like this. Or you just don't want to cut them off because you love the other parts of them. But abuse and love cannot coexist. People that make you feel like shit and make you feel great, they make you feel like shit. The good does not outweigh the bad in intimate connections. It just doesn't. In an intimate connection, the good has to be stronger than whatever is underlying. That fatal flaw should not be affecting your connection with them. They should be able to keep their fatal flaw in check so it doesn't mess up what you have going on. I think a fatal flaw in my friendships is being judgmental. Because I always feel like people should just know the right thing to do. And I always feel like people should just figure it out already. So in my friendships, I have to make sure that if I give advice, they ask for it. And I have to make sure that I listen when God tells me that this is somebody's, season. I had a homegirl that was in a relationship for, a couple of months, and the relationship was a fucking mess. And I knew from the first time that she told me about this person that it wasn't going to end, that it was going to end and that it was going to be a mess. I knew that, but I didn't tell her about it. I let her go through it. And she would call me and be like, girl, he said this and I'm remembering this and I'm thinking about this. She put all the pieces of the puzzle together herself. She was seeing a therapist. She figured it out. She got out of the situation. Afterwards, I was like, you know what, girl? I'm so proud of you and I'm so glad that you figured this out. And mind you, I was affirming everything for her when she was hitting me up and telling me this. I was supporting her decisions. I was right there with her. But it was not my job to just be like, well, this is going to flop. That just wasn't my job. This homegirl in particular was a woman of God. She prayed. Her intuition was on point. Her discernment was on point. And no matter how spiritual you are, how psychic you are, how connected to God you are, you're not exempt from lessons, baby. Okay, you're not. I've brought people very, very close to me that have backstabbed me. Literally, I just made 29, and this was around my 27th birthday that this friendship crumbled, So you're never exempt from going through lessons. You're never exempt from being fooled or, thinking that, oh, this person has this issue, but it won't ever affect me. You're never exempt from feeling like that and being delusional about people that you love. You're never exempt from that. And sometimes we have to be in those spaces to get to the other side. And as a friend, sometimes I just want to beat into the head of my friends, just figure it out, get it together, leave this person alone. But you're going through that for a reason. And I'm your friend to support you in that for a reason as well. You know, you need me to support you in that. You don't need me to give you the answers. You need me to support you in that. So let me figure out how I can do that. Let me figure out the best way that I can be there for you and connect with you in that way versus feeling like you should just figure it out and being upset when you don't, you know? So that's definitely something that I've had to work on. And just in general, I've done a lot of work on myself. I've done a lot of work on myself, and I'll continue to do work on myself because I'm very passionate about getting better and just being the best version of me that I can be. And I want to be a great friend. I want to be a great person. And I know that I'm a great friend and I'm a great person. But I have let too much slide in certain places. That's not good because you just develop resentment and then you can't stand the person and you want to fucking choke the life out of them. That's not good. You should have left them alone from the beginning, but you kept them in your life because you thought you were being a good person and thought you was going to save them and be their buddy and all this other stuff. And then you end up can't stand them. You shouldn't have even had them around you for that long. You know, we also have to recognize when we keep people in our life for too long, and that's not right. Because it's not right to keep somebody around you when you know you're going to eventually, you know, just be tired of them or be sick of them. That's like forming a romantic relationship with somebody and you know you don't like them, and then you end up cheating on them. What do people always say? Well, if you didn't want me, why'd you get with me? If you were going to do this, and why? It's the same thing in friendships. If you know from jump, oh, this person got this going on. Oh, they got this going on. Oh, I don't deal with this usually. Why even get close to that person? Why even let this person in your life? Why even decide that this is who you want to connect with? You know, I think that it can be really beneficial to be intentional about the friendships that you meet, because since I've been being intentional about the friendships that I've been keeping in my life, after my 27th birthday, that was very, very hard for me, you know, to lose those friends because I cared about those ladies. I had known those ladies for a while. And because I was 27, and also I was going through a lot of mental stuff at the time, it was just crazy. I just felt like this is my grown group of friends. Like I kind of felt like I figured it out. I shouldn't have. I got big-headed. I felt like I figured it out, like I cracked the code, like I had my friend group, a joke, and everything crumbled. But, you know, even though these people aren't in my life anymore, and I did love these, you know, women and appreciate these women, they have no business being in my life. You know, we really don't have anything in common, and we're just not on the same path, you know, and that's not a bad thing. I'm not on the same path as a lot of people, you know, but the people that are in my life, we're on the same path. And I can see it so clearly in every decision they make and every decision I make that we are aligned, that we are running this race together. And that's what friendship is about, running your race together. It's not about running your race with someone that's dragging you along or running a race with someone that's trying to make you hurry up or someone that's telling you to slow down. It's about running your race with people that encourage you to move forward and you guys support each other's momentum, you know? And that's what I need. I don't do anything I don't want to do. That's another friendship rule that I have for myself now. If I don't want to do something, then I'm not going to do it. And I'm not going to have people in my life that aren't as passionate about their healing as I am. You know, I can't want you to get yourself together more than you want to get yourself together. And also, I can't get you together. You know, I don't heal people for fun. I don't. Because fun isn't why I do it. I do it to fulfill a purpose, but fulfillment of my purpose is not fun. You know, it's fulfilling, but it's not fun. I don't do it for fun. So I'm not saving people for funsies. You know, me getting fulfilled comes from you being better because of your connection with me. Okay? It doesn't come from me just being in people's life and just spewing out wisdom for no good reason. You know, like the type of friend that I want to be and the type of friend that I am, I can't be that type of friend to everybody. But the people that love me, oh, they love me. Oh, they love me and they cherish me and I'm so precious to them and they appreciate me so much. And my best friend and I, we love on each other so much. And yet we were hanging out this past weekend and she was like, thank you for being my friend. And I was like, oh, thanks for being my friend. You know, like all of my friends, I feel like we appreciate each other so much and we're so grateful to have each other as, you know, partners in life. And I really feel like I have a beautiful, beautiful team of people around me. And I feel like, again, I changed. So I feel like everything around me started to change and my relationships started to change and the quality of my relationships have started to change. I feel like the people that are in my life, they're growing in the same relationship. They're growing at the same pace as me. And I feel like we're growing in a bunch of different directions, but we're able to support each other in our growth. And, you know, just know that we're on the right track because of the support that we have from one another. And it's a really, really, really great feeling to feel like you found, you know, your tribe. And I really, really feel like I'm there. And I'm not even 30 yet. I just made 29 a couple of months ago. So I, you know, have gone through everything, you know, that I can imagine in these last, 10 years. I'm sure this video was all over the place, but I had a lot of, friendship groups, very, very young, that I was filtering through and going through. And, one person, I ran out of storage, but I hope this frame looks the same. But yeah, I feel like, all of the different things that I went through, in my friendships have brought me to this point over literally the last 10 years. And like I mentioned, and like I've kept saying, when I change, my friendships change. And I think me being intentional about my friendships, me not being afraid to cut somebody off or move somebody out of my life or have a hard conversation and say, hey, what are you getting from this friendship? I don't feel like I'm getting nothing from it. How do you feel about it? Like and maybe I'm still working on my delivery because I'm not perfect, but I think that just being on top of the people that I have in my life and being on top of the relationship, not really on top of them, like making sure they're doing certain things, but if the connection isn't working for me, it can't be working for you. Like there has to be more that we can get out of what we're doing for each other if somebody feels like they're not getting what they need. So I've done a lot of work to just make sure that I'm able to show up in my relationships as the best version of myself. And I truly think that if any relationships don't work out, it's for the best. And we obviously didn't need to be in each other's lives. And it's great that we were able to be in each other's lives. But, everybody isn't your person and you're not everybody's person. So in friendships, just be open to having people in your life for when they are in your life and just treat them like they're going to be there forever, every time. And if it ends up them not being there forever, then, release them with love and know that they're going to find great people as well as you're going to find, great people too. So yeah, guys, if you have any questions about friendships and you want me to do a part 2 of, friendships in your 20s, then I definitely can. Let me know how you guys have been feeling and what's been going on in your friendships and things like that. But yeah, I feel like I'm in a really, really great place with my relationships, and I feel like I trust and respect and appreciate everybody in my life so, so, so much. And we always are reminding each other of how much we appreciate each other, and we've been able to support each other through some real, real things. Of course, my camera died again, guys, but I'm so appreciative of you guys for being here, and I feel like I've learned so much and I've changed so much about how I feel about friendships as a whole, and I would love to continue this conversation if you guys have any questions. So of course, let me know how you guys think about it. I love you guys as always, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys. Bless.